So here we are, video number 26, everybody, and this is the first video since I started my channel where the COVID restrictions have finally been loosened. Masks no longer need to be worn, and I know, me personally, I am really looking forward to never having to wash my hands again. Hey, before we get into today's video, a quick question for everybody out there. I got these new 36-inch cages. These are boa cages. I absolutely love them. You know, an issue I've run into cages with in the past is that they always get that strong plastic smell with them when you first get the cages. And I've tried many different things, guys. I put some bedding into the cages. I've hit them with the baking powder, the baking soda, trying to get the smell out of them. But, you know, everything works for a little bit. You know, when I clean everything up, I don't smell things for a little bit. But then after I close the door up again for about 8 hours overnight, when I open the door again in the morning, it just smells like nail polish remover. It's a really strong scent. I know eventually it's going to dissipate, but if anybody out there has any tips or tricks for me, something I can use that will instantly get rid of that really strong plastic smell with my enclosures, I would really appreciate if you could share with me down below in the comments, because until I can get that smell out, I can't put animals in my cages. Hey, and on another note, the last thing I ever want to do out there is offend anybody, okay? And I know since I started my channel, on all my videos, I tend to make a lot of jokes about carpondros and carpondro breeders, and a lot of you have been insulted about some of the things I've said in the past. You've written to me personally, you've sent me emails, you've commented on my videos below, and again, the last thing I want to do is upset anybody out there. So what I thought it would be a nice thing for me to do in order to keep the peace, I would start out this video just by saying a couple nice things about both carpondros and carpondro breeders. The first thing I'd like to say is...
Hey, hon,
yeah.
we really have a lot to get to today.
Oh, okay, well let's go check out some carpet python eggs. So I was leaving my house this morning. Right now it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I left this morning, I don't know, 8 o'clock in that area. And it's funny, because from outside of an enclosure, I can actually hear my diamond jungle jaguar. She was basically having contractions. I could see her having the contraction. I could start seeing her start to use her muscles, and she just looked really uncomfortable to me. And I could also hear the rustling of like the sphagnum mulch. So I knew she'd have her eggs today, and sure enough, I just got home. Like I said, it's like 4 o'clock. She's sitting on a clutch of eggs, so let's go take a look at her. Yeah, so I can't tell what's in there. I could see one slug on the bottom, and hopefully there are going to be more good eggs than bad eggs. So let me remove her, guys, from here. Let me get those eggs set up, and I'll be right back to show you exactly what we have. Okay, so quick count. Looks like 13 eggs. I am not overly enthused with this clutch. 6 of the 13 definitely slugs. Those are going right in the garbage. Of the 7 quote-unquote good eggs, I just canned them really quickly. 4 to 5 of them look good. A couple look borderline, but as I mentioned in the last video, as long as you know, there's no downside of taking them and sticking them in the incubator as well, and hopefully over the next few days we'll get some good vein development in them. So at the best, I'm looking at 7 good eggs, and that's it. Now we're going to wait 60-65 days, 88 degrees, and get these set up in the incubator, and I'll keep you guys posted on the clutches as this one progresses. Okay, so the video you guys just watched was shot 13 days ago, making these eggs now 13 days old. And as you can see, there are 7 eggs here, but of these 7, only 5 are viable, meaning 5 have strong vein growth, and 2 of these 7 do not have any vein growth. In fact, they light up bright yellow like snow in a dog park. So what I'm going to do now is I want to shut the lights, and I'm going to, using just this simple little pen light, I'm going to show you guys how to differentiate between a viable egg and a non-viable egg. So just by shutting off the lights and using a simple pen light, you can just press it against the egg, and you can see clear outline of veins going throughout this entire egg. It looks super healthy, and once you see those veins like that, you know it's a viable egg, and that egg should go on to hatch. Now that we looked at a viable egg, let's look at an egg that is not going to hatch. As you can see, there are no veins running through this egg whatsoever, and despite this egg not having any smell to it, meaning that it's not obvious that it's bad by its odor, just by, again, putting a simple pen light to it and checking for veins, you can see this clearly has no veins. It is bright yellow, and I can pretty much guarantee this egg is not going to hatch, therefore I'm just going to go ahead and dispose of it. Am I happy with a 5-egg clutch? No, not really. I was hoping for at least 12 to 15 eggs, but as we say, it's better than none. And most importantly, what I'm most happy about is my female is super healthy. She's fine. She'll go on to lay more eggs. And when I say she's healthy and she's fine, what do I mean by that? Well, the first is she did not retain any eggs. That's the #1 key thing you always check for when they do not retain eggs. The second thing I'm most happy about she's eating. And after you breed a female, there's no better feeling than when that female goes back on feed, because you know once that happens, she's ready for another breeding season. Hey, in this next segment, guys, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Dan. I just met Dan recently through my channel. Dan just turned 17 years old, and he is passionate about these animals. The knowledge he has already, it just blows me away, the amount of information he can retain. And the reason I want to bring him up is because, as you guys remember when you're first getting into this hobby, it's pretty intimidating. I mean, there's a lot of breeders out there, there are a lot of animals, and there are just tons of questions that Dan has for everybody, and it's intimidating. So if you could please do me a huge favor, I'm going to put Dan's Instagram information down below. If you could please give him a follow on Instagram, I know that would really help him feel welcome into the community. That'd be great. The funny part of this story is that I'm telling you, I thought you guys were actually punking me out there, because Dan just contacted me out of nowhere and we started talking about what his passions are, which animals he loves. He is obsessed with hybrids, guys. I mean, like, he is hardcore into hybrids. And as you guys know, I am not a big fan of hybrids. But listen, regardless, I love Dan's passion. So even though he really wants to breed dwarf Burmese pythons to dwarf reticulated pythons, and even though he loves wall pythons, which are ball pythons crossed with womas, I love Dan's passion. I'm so happy we have young guys like him coming up in the hobby. And again, if you could give him a follow, it would be great. And enjoy the tour. You know, one of my first snakes I ever had was a Burmese python, and I just always loved these things. And if they didn't get so big, I'd probably have another one. This is a Carmel albino Burm. This is a T-positive albino, basically, is what it is. I think these were all produced. These are Chris McQuaid, Frank?
Yes.
So I'm with my friend Frank Culver here. We're over in New Jersey, and Frank is where I get my rodents from, my live rodents. And I'm just checking out some of his Burmese pythons. He's got some really awesome ones. This is my buddy Dan.
Hello.
This is Dan. Dan, give me your Instagram account.
Reptile Man Dan.
So this is my buddy Reptile Man Dan, and Dan is 17 years old. He's just getting into reptiles, and I've been mentoring Dan a little bit, and he's going to give me a heart attack, guys, because Dan, tell everybody what you're really into.
I like hybrids.
He loves hybrids, and you know, why don't you just why don't you just like stab me or something, Dan, instead of doing that. But anyway, I thought Dan would get a really big kick out of checking out this Burm today, because he loves dwarf Burmese pythons and dwarf reticulated pythons. So when I remembered that Frank had some Burms over here, especially this Carmel Burm, I thought it'd be great so Dan could check it out with me. But I'm going to show you guys some other really cool Burms right now as well. Hey guys, so I'm going to let Frank hold this snake. This is a pied Burmese python. You definitely don't see many of these. I have no idea, Frank. I don't know if you know how long they've been coming into the country. I think it's pretty relatively...
Yeah, it's been a...
Was it like more than 10 years, we think? I'm not even sure, to be honest with you.
I'm not positive. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but listen, you guys, if you love pied balls and you love Burmese pythons, these things are incredible. And what I could tell you is that this one is het for albino as well.
Right.
And I hate to talk about pricing in my videos, but I've seen them on Morph Market. I think they're going the double hets. Or no, I've seen albino pieds on there for like $25K, something in that area.
When it first came out.
But that is just an awesome animal. And yeah, I love Burmese pythons. I always did. I even love them more than the retics. And, you know, just always something about them. It was my very first snake I ever owned when I was 13 was a Burmese python. So when I remembered Frank had these pieds, and the Carmels definitely reignites my passion in these animals. So anyway, very cool. Thanks for showing that to us, Frank.
No problem.
So Frank, you know, he has a ton of ball pythons, and he produces a lot of live rodents, as I mentioned earlier. Frank's one of those low-key guys that produces, he's got some amazing animals, like this amazing collection. He's just a low-key guy. So I'm going to make sure I put Frank's contact information below, because if you're looking for like Carmel Burms and pied Burms, and this is the T-negative, T-negative Brazilian rainbows. He also has het T-positive Brazilian rainbows, but like, these are things you don't see too common, guys, you know? So I just saw that animal, I thought I would take it out. And again, I'm going to put Frank's information on the bottom. He's not going to have any babies this season, but probably in the next coming year or so. So if you want to start following him on Facebook. But this is just an awesome animal. Dumerell's Boas. Come on, we've seen Dumerell's Boas for years. If you're a long-time herper, you've been seeing these things for 30 years ago. They lost popularity somewhat, and they're starting to get really popular again. And like, look at this pair of babies that Frank has. Like, talk about the high pinks. I love the coloration on this one specifically. And do I want Dumerell's Boas now after seeing Frank's? Yeah, hell yeah, I do. I mean, these things are awesome, and these are just, you know, I love ball pythons. I never put down ball python people or the ball python market, but what's happened over the years, as we all know, is that there's been such focus on ball pythons that people have lost focus on species such as Dumerell's Boas. But the good news is they're getting a lot more popular again, which is causing a big demand with them. There are not many around, so it's causing, obviously, a big pricing spike on these animals now. But God, beautiful animals. You ever thought about getting something Boas other than, you know, your typical BCI or BCCs? Dumerell's Boas are an awesome option, and God, with this pink coloration, they are just a real desirable animal to work with. Hey, so I stumbled upon another caramel albino berm here, and my buddy Dan's holding it. And Dan, just lower your hands a little bit on that one, see if we can't get a good shot of that. So yeah, just another caramel albino berm, and I just love these things. I'm sorry if I'm spending way too much time on them, but I would love to get a pair of these things. Again, these are T-positive albinos is what they are, and again, I think Chris McQuaid started these, or first brought them into the country. I'm not really sure. You guys can... He did. He's first, Marson. You could fact check me on those. And these are from Chris directly, but God, I just love these animals. I'm just trying to get the color on this thing, but it's not often that the colors of we call these snakes actually match the snake, but in this case, this caramel albino, I couldn't think of a better name for it. So anyway, I thought you guys would enjoy checking out some of these berms and Brazilians and Dumerell's Boas, because these are the animals that we're just not seeing at shows anymore, or just being available anymore. All right, before we leave Frank's, guys, I'm going to ask my buddy Dan one last question. So Dan, after seeing all these beautiful, pure forms of these animals today, like pure Burmese, and these pure, you know, Dumerell's Boas, and these Brazilian rainbows, so did I finally get you off the kick where you're ever going to want a hybrid, Dan?
Nah, I don't think so, Gary.
Okay, now I'm upset. Now I'm going to go. All right, bye, guys. Had my first Savu python ovulation yesterday, which means in about 30 days, I'm going to get her post-ovulation shed, and I am definitely getting eggs from her. They may not be viable eggs, but I am definitely getting eggs from her. Once you see that ovulation, guys, you know the work is done, and you are going to get a clutch of something. So I'm totally pumped for that. Fingers crossed, I have at least 2 more females that are going to ovulate shortly. And do I think I cracked the code on Savu pythons? Absolutely not. Do I think I'm keyed in on my collection of Savu pythons? Yeah, I think I'm getting pretty close. Anyway, guys, US ARC, as always, they need our help. They need money. They need money now more than ever. You guys see everything that's going on out there. So, as always, it is $5 a month. $5 a day is what a lot of you spend on Starbucks. So, I'm sure we can come up with $5 a month to help out US ARC. They do so much for us and ask so little from us. So, have a great couple of weeks, guys, and I will see you soon. Who has the best YouTube channel? Me